Happy Pride Month! Sorry about any background noise. I'm gonna try to noise reduce it. The fan's going because it's hot here. I originally had a different speed paint planned, but it's Pride Month, so that speed paint will come out in July, and it's just some more concept art for Through Magic's Eye, so this is a little more important in my opinion. This month, I'm going to do speed paints of my LGBT characters / couples, my original ones, and maybe Morganite. I'm not sure about her yet. Each speed paint will include an introduction of the characters in case you're not familiar with them, and a cute little non-canon story about them. First up, we have Athea and XL from my I Jumped the Ruby Red series, which is loosely based off of the Little Red Riding Hood story. Though they haven't appeared in the comic yet, I definitely plan on having them in the next issue, but I need to plan for that first, hence the Gem School Host Club as kind of like a filler comic. Athea is a princess from the Ruby Mountains who is engaged to the Prince of the Sapphire Sea, Prince Tulip. He's very spoiled and entitled, so it is of course an arranged marriage. Athea also doesn't swing that way because she is in fact a lesbian. She's also in her early 20s and she's Hispanic. Daxel, on the other hand, is a wolfen from the Emerald Forest. Wolfens are a type of species that are the guardians of the Emerald Forest. Each land has its own guardian that was a gift from the gods. Daxel is tasked with escorting Athea to her future husband. Athea will be meeting the man more than once, so they're going to get to know each other real well. Daxel is also a trans woman, and I drew her in the middle of her transition. At this time, she has fully socially transitioned, and she will be starting surgery very soon in the future. Though you should never ask a trans woman or trans man their dead name, Daxel's dead name is Damien, but I don't want to see it in the comments. Daxel, like Athea, is in her early 20s, though she is a little bit older than Athea. On to the story of these two cuties. Just remember that this is non-canon to the comic, and it's just a sample of their relationship. The two walk through the dense forest, Athea trying to keep up with Daxel while also trying to keep her clothing from becoming ruined. This is, of course, her first time meeting her fiancé, so she wants to look presentable, though the forest is making that more difficult and more impossible by the minute. "Can you please slow down?" she asked her escort. Daxel looked back at the princess, who was getting caught by the branches and couldn't help but give a small smirk. "We need to make it to the next town, unless you want to stay in the woods, Your Highness," she replied, mocking the princess. Athea frowns, but doesn't say anything. She could tell from the moment that she met Daxel that her opinion on royalty wasn't very high. Athea's clothes, while grand, were made for hiking in the Rocky Mountains of her homeland, not a dense forest, thus making the hike much more difficult. But she needs to look presentable for her new fiancé. At last, the two women reached a clearing, and it was a beautiful sight. It was filled with greenery all around them, a river sitting just at the edge of the clearing. Despite the rushing river, the faint noises of the forest could still be heard. The tree line extended as far as the eye could see, glistening in the sunlight. "We're going to take a break. The next town is about an hour hike away, and I don't want to overwhelm your delicate body," Daxel said while sitting by the river. She took her equipment off to better relax, though keeping it nearby just in case. Athea sat beside her. "Is this water drinkable?" she asked while ignoring the mockery. She had grown used to it during their long hike, though she's almost at her breaking point. "Oh, yeah, it's fresh water. The animals and people drink from it all the time," Daxel replied while not really paying attention, getting lost in her own mind. Daxel was chosen to escort the princess due to her knowledge on the forest. She wasn't like the other wolfen who guarded just one town. She loves to explore, and so She knows the forest almost as well as the goddess Alphine, the goddess of the Emerald Forest, herself. Athea cupped her hands gently and scooped up some water, raising it to her lips, and drank from it, getting her sleeves a little wet. Though she didn't mind, as it would dry by the time they reached the Sapphire Sea. After getting a drink, she looked over at her companion and sighed. She'd be a lot cuter if she wasn't so condescending, she thought, but had to shake the thought off, for it would never happen. Not with Daxel, nor any other woman. Her fate had already been decided. The Sapphire Sea wants an alliance, and in order to have that alliance, Princess Athea must marry Prince Tula, though she finds boys not so charming. Daxel looks over to the princess, seeing her cheeks turn red, and smirks. What's wrong? See something you like? Sorry, but I'm not into royal snobs. Daxel laughed a little. Daxel had heard rumors of nobility in the other kingdoms, and how they're all snobs. She can't stand people who think they're better than someone else just because they won the birth lottery. But Athea, despite her wealth and power, did not win the birth lottery, for her family is under a horrific curse. Athea turned a few shades darker and slapped Daxel. Would you knock that off already? I have not once acted spoiled throughout this entire journey. I don't even want to be here. If you haven't figured this out, I'm not living a fairy tale. I'm in an arranged marriage, and this is going to be my first time seeing and speaking to the man. Fire was in her eyes as she had reached her breaking point. Speaking of Athea's romantic life was a sore spot for her. Daxel looked at the angry girl, then laughed a little, rubbing the back of her head. Sorry. Guess I got a little carried away. Always thought you upper-close folk in the other kingdoms were all snobs. Daxel apologized and smiled, though the smile was a little goofy. Daxel looked at her escort, fuming, though her smile was too goofy. So Athea started to smile herself, that soon turned into a laugh. At the Ruby Mountains, we thought you were all just fruits. Athea laughed at her own silly rumors. Guess we were both wrong. Let's try this again, Daxel said while offering her hand. I'm Daxel. Athea looked at her hand, then smiled. Just call me Athea. No need for formalities, she said while taking Daxel's hand. Nice to meet you, Princess Athea. Daxel still couldn't help but tease the girl before her, though this was far more playful. Athea blushed and tried to hide under her hood, giggling. Daxel tilted Athea's chin to look at her, their lips almost touching. Athea's face flushes red, and she almost kisses Daxel, but stops herself, her eyes widening, and she suddenly pushes Daxel away. Hey, what was that for? Daxel demanded angrily. She thought they had started getting along. Athea backs up, shaking her head in tears, trembling a little. This surprises Daxel as she goes to comfort the young princess. What's wrong? She asks, gently taking Athea's hands. I don't want to marry him. I don't want to marry any man. The mere thought of it. She trails off before crying more. Daxel wipes her tears. I'm sorry. I don't really understand all this royal stuff, but I'm here to talk, to listen, and to comfort you if you need me. Daxel tried to comfort the crying girl, but she didn't know how, nor did she understand what just happened. Athea sighs, starting to calm down. It's my duty, and I don't want to end up like... She trails off, looking to her feet. What Daxel didn't know was Athea's family had been cursed centuries ago by the goddess Zira, the goddess of the Ruby Mountains, of her homeland. She had watched the curse play out with her older sister Amor when she was merely a child. If she were ever to kiss the one she loves, she would become a horrific monster, only reverting to her true form in sleep. Only if the one she loves would take her hand in marriage would she be free of the curse, and so would her entire family. Unfortunately, in her entire family bloodline, this has never happened. It is why every member of her family is going to be in an arranged marriage. It is too risky to have love. As such, Athea can never experience true love's kiss. She can never feel the bliss of love, not unless the curse is broken another way. Even if that were to happen, the Sapphire Sea demands an alliance, so she still must marry Prince Tula. Athea can never have love. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please check out my social media, Steven's social media, the Gem School Host Club, and my comics. Stay artsy. Bye, guys.